Hello, today we talk about a new grammar point. We speak about the reported speech. In reported speech, when using reported speech, we usually repeat what another person has said. We report his or her words. But pay attention. When we report somebody's words, we don't use direct speech. I have noted down some examples of direct and indirect speech. So an example of direct speech is Calvin says, I hate being good. So here I am exactly reporting what Calvin says, word by word. When I use the indirect speech, when I report Calvin's words, I don't use exactly the same words. Check it out. Calvin said he hated being good. So compare the two examples. I haven't used the same exact words. So this is the difference, the main difference between direct and indirect speech. So the first rule is that when I use reported speech, I never use the exact words. I must do some changes. So what do we change? If you look at the examples, you see that I have changed the verb tense, the pronouns, and place and time expressions, if there are any. In these two examples, there are no place and time expressions, but we did change the pronoun. So Calvin said that he hated being good. I changed the I hate in he hated. So I also changed the verb tense. From the present, in the first example, I hate. I had a back shift. So I stepped back in time. And I said he hated. I used a simple past. These are funny examples about these two characters in the cartoon. Calvin is the little boy, while Tiger is his best friend. They will be with us for the rest of this lesson. So, to sum up, when I report somebody's words, I don't use exactly the same words. And what I change is the subject, the pronoun, and the time tense. When I change the verb tense, usually I step back in time. As in this example, from the present tense, I step back to the past simple. What happens with other tenses? Here is your example. If I have a present simple as the previous example, I will use the past simple in the reported speech. If I have the present continuous, I will change into past continuous. If my sentence uses a past simple or a present perfect, when I report to the sentence, I will use the past simple or past perfect. And if I already use a past perfect in a sentence, when I report it, I'll use the past perfect. And if my sentence will be in the past continuous, I will report it using the past perfect continuous. And what happens if I have a modal verb in the sentence that I want to report? Will and may or can change into would and could. And what happens if what I need to report is a question? Well, I have two different types of questions. I have the so-called yes or no questions, and I also have questions beginning with a question word. Let's have a look at the first type of questions, yes or no. The example that I give you is, he asked me, do you want to go to the cinema? Direct speech. I want to report this question using an indirect speech. In this case, I must use if or whether. So follow me in this example. He asked me if I wanted to go to the cinema. So to report this question, I used if. I changed the subject pronoun and I changed the sentence of the verb. Is no more want, is no more in the question form, do you want, is simply a simple past verb, wanted. What happens for the questions beginning with the question word? My example is, John asked me, what time is it? Question form is the verb first and the subject afterwards. When I report the question, as you can see, there's no question mark. That's a point to be careful to. And John asked me what time it was is the reported question. So once again, I don't use exactly the same words and in the same order, because this is no more a question. It becomes an indirect question. Let's have some practice. He said, I like this song and I want to report what he just said. Can you think with me what's the correct form to report this sentence? Take a few seconds. And he said he liked this song. This is the correct form for reporting the previous sentence. Shall we have another go? One more example for you to practice. They said, we are going ice skating. We need to change the subject pronoun and the verb tense. So they said they were going. So from the present continuous into the past continuous. A back shift. Very good, excellent. Now time for you to practice really hard. I'll show you some comics. Very bright. very British and very popular. These are about Calvin and Hobbes. Calvin is the little guy, as I told you before. So look at the speech bubble and try and report what Calvin says. In the first example, in the speech bubble, we read, "Do you believe in fate?" I must report what Calvin has just said. This is a question, so I will start reporting saying Calvin asked, and please try and complete this indirect question. In the second picture, Calvin says, "It's not denial. I'm just very selective about the reality I accept. I must report his sentences." I will start with Calvin said and report his words. Third picture. I've decided to be a federalist. You need to report this sentence as well. And finally, the last one. I am a man of few words. That's what Calvin says, and that's what you need to report. Pause the video and do your homework. And here we go. Calvin asked if he believed in God. So we changed the subject pronoun and we also changed the verb tense. And since it is a question, we put if. And there's no question mark. Let's have a look at the second example. Calvin says, "It's not denial," has been changed into "it was not denial." And I'm just very selective, change it into "he was just very selective," and the rest of the sentence. Here we also changed the verb tense from present simple, "it's not," we changed it into "it was not." And in the second sentence, I'm became he was. Third example for you. We need to change I have decided to be a federalist, and it changes into Calvin said he had decided to be a federalist. And last, I'm a man of few words became Calvin said he was a man of few words. Well done. See you next time. Bye bye.